Greetings everybody, this is Adrian from the website OCA, and if you're on this website, you probably know that I do a lot of SIC reviews. All the SIC reviews that I have done are written, all the toys review I've done on that website is written, and I like doing written reviews. They're fun to do, but they're pretty long, and some people, they don't like reading a whole bunch of stuff that I've written. So, instead I do video reviews. They're fast, they're quick, they're easy, and people want to watch this stuff, so I want to get to a larger audience. I think a video review would be great, but I'm always curious how I would sound on video. I don't want to sound like a little kid or something like that, because they can be a bit annoying. So I decided to do my favorite SIC, which is the Kamen Rider Agito SIC Volume 40 with his bike machine Tornader. This was released last year, January 2008, I believe, and this is the annual bike set. This is the fourth SIC Agito, the first being this figure actually, but redesign was actually this. I'll have it right here. It's volume 19. It's this. Let me show you. It looks like this. It's this guy right here. I have him in storm form. I didn't like this figure. This was actually, I thought it was poorly designed. He doesn't look. I was pull his head off. It's just kind of ugly. That's what SIC try to make. They try to make the riders look ugly, but this one I thought just was ugly in a bad sense, not the SIC sense. So I'm glad they redesigned it. I hope they redesign Black, Kamen Rider Black too, but there's no sign of that happening soon. But this is the fourth SIC Agito, the third SIC Agito figure, and one of the first SIC to be remade. And it's beautiful. If you can just see, I hope the camera quality is good enough. But you can just see this is nice. I got some nice sunlight coming in from the window here, so it's just nice. It's so nice, and I can't just describe how nice it is. I have this little plaque here. Oh, this doesn't come with the volume, but I just want to show you this. This is from the volume 13 SIC Classic version 2008, and it comes and it says the people who sculpt the SICs, which is Takayuki Takeya and Kenji Ando. The reason I'm showing this is to show you that who are the creators of SIC. Kenji Ando is the co-creator with Takayuki Takeya, but Kenji Ando does all the Heisei riders. He didn't do Kuga, but he did every one from Agito onwards to Den-O. And I don't hate to be biased, but Kenji Ando is awesome. He is much better than his counterpart Takayuki Takeya. Takayuki is he usually does the Showa riders. He recently did Kamen Rider X, it looks nice, but the posability for that figure is weak. It almost seemed like it came from 2003 or something like that. Kenji Ando is so much better than him, but I hope he improves. The thing I don't like about Takayuki Takeya is that he, like I said, the posability for his figures are very, very limited. This is the first Kenji Ando SIC that sort of perfected posability. His other figures, such as Phi, Hibiki, Ryuki, they're good. Hibiki and Phi's being a bit weak compared to Ryuki, even though they came later. This one is just perfect. I just want to show you how perfect this figure is. At the point of release in 2008, this was the best. But when Den-O came out in the month of, I think, the summer of 2008, it defeated this. But this, no doubt, is one of the best. I just want to show you the posability here, if you can see properly. Sorry, the camera's a bit low, so you may not see his head. But you can see just the arms. They can do this. It's surprising because most SICs can't even do this. They have ball joints for the shoulder here, so they can only move like a 45-degree angle, but this can move like a 90-degree angle, which is very rare. Even if some figures, like SIC figures that can do this, what happens is that the shoulder pad comes off, and that's very frustrating, but this is all stuck on. One thing that I look for in a toy is how cohesive it is. SIC is notorious for being really loose in parts. If you have the Kamen Rider Hibiki parts, or the set, they come off so often that, you know, it just pisses you off. Like if you hold the Ibuki figure, his chest armor just opens up and just, you know, they just fall apart, and you try to put this one in and something else falls apart, and try to put that one in and the other stuff falls apart. But this figure is perfect. The reason why is probably because it doesn't have any forms. But the Den-O ones do have forms, but they don't fall off too. But I'm not going to review the Den-O today. But I just want to show you how great this figure is. There's, you know, there's leg. No, he can do the splits. You know, you can't do that with all other toys. He has toe joints, as you can see here. He can do this. You know, it's just incredible what he can do. His shoulder, and you know, you can just pose him in his signature form or signature pose in just like a matter of seconds. And you know, you get just a nice looking toy, great posability. The figure itself is 100%. It's a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. And one thing this figure is known for is that it started making, or started using staff joints, which Kenji Ando would do for his Den-O figures, which is this. You know, the hands are no longer balls at the end; they're staffs. And what's great about this is that if you have toys, any toys in general that uses ball joints, is that ball joints tend to rip. And what happens is that if you keep switching hands, it eventually, one of them, the weak one, would eventually get stuck in the little, you know, the socket, and it gets stuck there. And what you have is a handless figure, and you can't take the ball because it's stuck, and you know, it's a whole. But this figure solves this problem. Another thing about ball joints is that some tend to be smaller than the other. If you have the Hibiki one, I'm sorry that I keep picking on Hibiki. The show is okay, the figure sucks, but the thing about the Hibiki figures is that if you have the Ibuki or the Hibiki and whatnot, the ball for one of the hands, the holding hands for the armor, is a bit too small. So what happens is that if you put, like, if Ibuki was holding his trumpet, you know, the hand would do something like this, which is kind of push itself in one side or one angle, and it's sad. You know, the designs are great, but SIC actually haven't perfected itself until this volume, volume 40. Everything onwards by Kenji Ando is perfect. Even the Blade figures, which are great, they're nothing like this. This is by far, with Den-O, the best SIC there is. And if SIC continues to improve, I don't see how it can be any better now, but if it does, it's just going to be awesome. The bike, let me just point out one more thing. This model doesn't come with a whole lot. It just comes with a bunch of other hands, you know, the regular fist, and right now I have, and the bike holding hands, and right now is the signature posing hand, and of course he comes with his horns when he does his rider kick. You know, you just, you know, it's like the original Agito, where you just kind of pull his face off. Kind of disgusting, but you know, and you get this sort of scary looking smiley face. And you would just put this one in, and you get his. This is even cooler than the original one. I don't know. It's just, I think it's so cool. It's very nice, and I'll give you like a 360 thing. Just tell, this is just incredibly designed. Those little cracks, little crevices and stuff, and there are little wings at the back, which was actually on the original SIC Agito as well, but this one's much more slim.